Hey guys, it's Elephants here, and this is What If Naruto Had Ink Release, Part 3. I tried to make this video a little bit longer, because I know you guys have been saying I've been asking if I could make these videos longer. I do try and make them as long as I can. Sometimes I just don't really have time, because, all these videos are scripted, and so I have to go and actually, write the script for each of the videos, but I tried to make this one longer. And so yeah, I hope you guys enjoy, and without further ado, roll the intro. Naruto was currently waiting to take his turn for the test. As his last name started with a U, he was often the last one to do anything. The only other person who was waiting to take the test was Ino, seeing as her name started with a Y. They didn't really talk, and there was silence in the room, seeing mostly because they had nothing in common. Naruto just painted while Ino was doing something. What she was doing, Naruto didn't really know, as he couldn't care less, so he just painted a beautiful mountainscape without colors. Uzumaki Naruto. One of the proctors, Mizuki, called. Naruto believed that Mizuki, he was nice enough, he just seemed a little bit odd. Naruto rolled up his painting, got up, and walked into the test room. There were two proctors, Mizuki and Iruka. Mizuki was okay, but he rarely seemed to answer questions, or ask them. And he was only there when they had taijutsu lessons. Side note, in this what if, Mizuki isn't going to be bad because, it doesn't really reflect the plotline because Naruto isn't as inept in this one, so he has, better chakra control and he actually passes the test. But, yeah, that's beside the point. So Mizuki isn't really going to be, evil in this what if. So, anyway, yeah, back to the story. The other proctor, Iruka, gave Naruto a flat stare before looking down at his scoring sheet. Naruto looked towards him and looked at the scoring sheet. It comprised of 3 parts for how well he did on each of the 3 jutsus that they were supposed to perform. Look, Naruto, Iruka began. I don't like you, and you don't like me, so if you pass this test, we don't have to see each other anymore, okay? Naruto thought, as he nodded once. There is this unpleasant sensation when I talk to most people. The stronger when I talk to some people than others. I'll have to ask you about what this emotion is. Naruto had long since dulled his emotions to the point where he felt something but could never really distinguish between them. Okay, Iruka said once more. We'll start with the replacement jutsu. Naruto nodded and looked around the room for something to replace himself with. He then held up the half-ram hand sign and put his other hand in his ninja pouch. He disappeared silently. There was no smoke, no sound, or any indication that Naruto was ever there. In his place was a log, and sitting on that log that was sitting in the corner of the room. Sitting on the log was a paper bomb underneath a glass jar. The glass jar was upside down, so the paper bomb was leaning against one of the insides of the glass walls of the jar. Iruka gave a begrudging nod and marked down a score. Not only did Naruto perform a perfect replacement jutsu, and silently, he was also able to set a trap. If the paper bomb went off, the glass jar would explode, sending shards of glass in all directions. If somebody was chasing you when you performed this, it would seriously hinder whoever was chasing you, seeing as how they could get glass in their eye, or it could puncture one of their major or important veins. A couple of seconds later, the log, the glass jar, and the paper bomb were gone, and in their place was Naruto. If someone didn't know better, they would simply say that Naruto simply performed the transformation jutsu. Now please perform the transformation jutsu, Iruka said. Naruto nodded, but this time he performed the hair hand sign. Again, there was no smoke, no sound, and only Naruto's features changed ever so slightly. It wasn't very noticeable, but his features were constantly changing. It made it so that it was almost impossible to tell what he looked like. His clothing changed every now and again, but you can never really exactly tell when they changed. Again, Iruka sighed and marked down another high score for Naruto. The constant changing features would be extremely helpful in real-life applications, because if someone's features were always changing, If a guard of the building saw you casing the joint to either steal something or assassinate someone inside, and you disappeared into the crowd before he caught up to you, when he finally got to you, he wouldn't be able to tell who you were because your features were different, and your clothes would have changed. Okay, Naruto. The last one is the clone jutsu, Iruka said, slightly nervous. It was well known that Naruto had massive chakra reserves, which made him somewhat of a howitzer in ninjutsu. Howitzer, by the way, means cannon, so it's almost like a juggernaut, if you didn't know that. But anyway, yeah, back to the story. It was well known that Naruto had massive chakra reserves, and that that usually meant terrible chakra control. If Naruto failed the clone jutsu, then he would probably have to do another year at the academy. Something Iruka was severely hoping not to happen. Naruto performed some hand signs, and the jar of ink that was attached to his hip popped open. Some ink spilled out and formed into a perfect replica of him. Iruka sighed in relief. Okay, Naruto, you pass. Take a headband and head down to room 213. I'll be there soon to debrief you all on those of you who pass the teams and what you're going to be doing. But before you go, how come that ink jar never seems to be empty? Why? There's a seal in the bottom of the jar, Naruto said, picking up a gray headband with the leaf insignia on it. The seal at the bottom of the jar regulates the amount of ink inside. Every time I dip my brush in, more ink is added to the jar, and every time I add more ink to the jar, more is sealed inside of the seal. Naruto nodded once and then left. Time skip. 15 minutes. Naruto was currently writing a poem to a person he and Shino had met over the past 4 years. The person's name was Yakumo Karama. She loved to paint, and to stop her from painting some of the darker paintings, Naruto and Shino often sent her a poem, and she was tasked to recreate the scene on the canvas. This usually helped her take her mind off of painting some darker scenes, such as her nightmares, or, for example, something chasing a person in a dark forest, or somebody bleeding out on a battlefield. After Naruto finished writing the poem, he performed some hand signs: boar, dog, hare, rat. After he finished, the words on the paper jumped off the page and formed into a hawk. It picked up the now blank scroll and took off with it through the open window of the classroom. A few seconds later, Iruka walked into the classroom. Hello, class. Today is going to be the last time I will be teaching you, hopefully, Iruka said. So let's go over teams. He droned on for a while, and Naruto only caught a few of the names of the teams that mattered. Team 7, under Kakashi Hadake, Sakura Haruno, Sasuke Uchiha, and Sako Masachi. Team 8, under Kurenai Yuhi, will be Hibe Inuzuka, Hinata Hyuga, and Masashi Aburame. Team 9 is still in circulation, and Team 10 will be under Asuma Sarutobi, which will include Shikamaru Nara, Ino Yamanaka, and Choji Akamichi, Iruka said, before reading off some more names. Team 11 is Naruto Uzumaki and Shino Aburame. Your sensei and last team member have yet to be decided, so please report to the Hokage's office. Naruto and Shino got up, nodded at Iruka, and left the classroom. They were walking quite fast, so it didn't take them long to get to the Hokage's office. They walked up to the top floor and stopped at the reception desk right before the doors to the Hokage's office. He's expecting you, so go right in, the lady at the desk said. Not many people knew, but she was actually Jonin level, and in case of an assassination attempt, it was mostly going to be stopped by her. Naruto nodded and walked to the doors and pushed them open. Shino followed him into the room. They stopped in the middle of it, and then Naruto took in their surroundings. They were surrounded on all sides by Jonin, and directly in front of them was a table. Seated behind said table were the Hokage, the Jonin commander Shikaku Nara, and the 3 elders, including Danzo. Hokage-sama, Naruto said. Naruto and Shino said at the same time, bowing slightly. Ah, good, you're here, Hiruzen said. We were just discussing your team arrangements. We have found you a sensei. At this, Hiruzen gestured towards Anka, who nodded back. We were still discussing your teammate. Do you have anyone in mind for the spot? Naruto and Shino shared a look for a second, and held a silent conversation. This was a testament to how close Naruto and Shino had grown as best friends. Excuse me. Naruto then turned back towards Hiruzen and said, "We would prefer if we had Yakumo Kurama as our third team member." Immediately after he said this, most of the Jonin in the room stiffened, and Kurenai paled. "Hokage-sama, I object. That girl's powers are a hazard to everyone around her. I tried working with her, but it failed, and I had to seal her powers," Kurenai said. "Oh, so it was you who put that genjutsu seal up. It was a pretty shoddy job, and actually did more harm than good. Yakumo's alter ego seemingly ripped through the barrier, though Yakumo wasn't able to do so as easily, and it made it easier for her alter ego to gain more control of her," Naruto said. "You had no right to remove that," Kurenai all but shouted. "Do you know what would have happened if her alter ego got out?" Naruto just gave her a flat stare. "Didn't you hear me? I tried to help her. Her powers are based in genjutsu, so I'm the most qualified to help her, and I failed." "So that means that if you can't do it, no one can? Yuki-san?" Naruto said, his face still expressionless. "Know your place, Genin," Kurenai snarled. Naruto turned back to Shino and cocked his head to the side. Shino sighed before responding. "I believe your words damage her pride, thus making her angry, a normal emotion," Shino explained in his normal monotone. Naruto nodded before turning back to Hiruzen. "Her condition is quite stable after she removed her alter ego, though she does have a tendency to paint." Naruto turned back to Shino, who uttered the word darker before Naruto continued speaking. "Darker paintings," Naruto finished. Hiruzen looked pensive for a moment. "Permission granted, on probation. Anko will meet you at the Kurama clan compound, and you can act and will assess Yakumo's condition. If she finds her fit to be a part of your team, then she will join. If not, then she won't, and we will continue looking for your third team member. Now go. Anko will meet you there." Naruto and Shino nodded before leaving. As soon as they were gone, Anko spoke up. "What's with the red-headed one?" she asked. Hiruzen sighed before responding. Naruto doesn't really seem to respond or have any emotion. In a way, it makes him perfect for an assassination espionage squad. But it also means that you have to explain some things to him, like devotion to teammates. If we place him on a team with random teammates, then he would value the mission over them. Luckily, he tends to show emotion to the people he's familiar with, though he doesn't exactly understand what he is doing, or even why he is showing emotion towards them. Well, you should probably go. Naruto and Shino can travel quite fast. Anko nodded and body flickered away, and no one heard the soft, "Good luck, you'll need it," Hiruzen muttered. Anyway guys, thank you. I hope you enjoyed the longer video. I will continue trying making them longer. It is a bit hard because they're scripted. But yeah, I'll see you next time.